Welcome to the Untrapped Podcast, where we're motivated and inspired about success, small business, and personal development. And now, Keith Kalfas.
I just dropped $9,300 on a brand new 8.5 by 16 enclosed trailer for my landscaping business. And I got the blackout package. It looks sweet. And I was sweating when I was buying it, but I knew I had to buy it. And in today's podcast episode, I just want to dive deep real quick and talk about investing in your business and how I have not invested in my landscaping business, and I've worked with the tools that I had available in order to increase profit margins. And I only invest in tools that I absolutely need, not stuff that I want. And just kind of my breakdown. This is what I do for me and my business. I hope you enjoy this podcast. And I'm going to share with you, to give you some insight. I'm not saying this is the way, but I'm going to talk about the way that I do it and how I've been able to maximize profits. So welcome to the Untrapped Podcast. I'm Keith Kalfas. Started this podcast in 2014, walking around talking into my phone. And we're about to cross 1 million downloads on the podcast. So if you've been a listener, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And real quick, we're a few days out from the Equip Expo, the 2025 Equip Expo in Louisville, Kentucky. It's the biggest landscape event in North America every single year. And I'll be there. You can actually catch me at the Xmark booth. If you open up your calendar right now, I'd like to meet you in person. I'll be doing a meet and greet. Probably handing out some free swag if you want some. And it's a booth number 7080, Wednesday at 1 p.m. And I'll actually look at my calendar right now to tell you. And I'll get back on topic. I just wanted to make this quick couple announcements. Yeah, so that's Wednesday the 22nd at 1 p.m., booth number 7080. Come see me at 1 p.m. And also, if you can't make that one, then Thursday, you can catch me at the Jobber booth at 2 p.m., and it's all the way on the other side of the expo. I don't have that booth number yet, but I'll be at the Jobber booth on Thursday. So just look it up on the Equip Expo map, 2 p.m. Come meet me there as well. And I'll be announcing that again on my Instagram at Keith Kalfas. All right, so let's get back on the topic. So I put out videos in the past when I was launching my landscape business. If you don't know, I grew up poor, welfare, food stamps. I lived in 31 homes, went to 14 schools. I've had 50 different jobs before I started my landscaping business. ADD, Tourette's, which means I blink all the time. I got nervous tics and anxiety and all that stuff. And I'm just a normal dude who couldn't stand working for other people. And by the time I met my wife, working a dead-end landscape job wasn't enough money at all. So I went out and started my own landscaping business. And it's been 15 years now. And I've learned a lot. And I've made videos in the past talking about how you should never, ever, ever buy a tool until the morning of that landscaping job where you've sold that job, probably should have gotten a deposit, and you're actually on your way to that job to do the job that you need that new tool for. And then the morning of the landscape job, on the way to that job, you go buy that tool. So if you need a Sawzall, $250, you buy it on the morning on the way to that job and then use it that moment. So what you're doing is you're making your risk as low as possible. So you're immediately getting your money back on that tool. You can apply that to anything, to shovels and wheelbarrows, or, a truck, a trailer. I was dumping debris out of the back of my pickup truck and putting a pallet with a rope or a chain, and then having them pull it off at the dump, or connecting it and driving off and pulling off the bulk of the debris. And then one day, I had 2 trucks. My other truck broke down. Basically, I went to the trailer store and I walked out for $7,000 and I bought a dump trailer, hydraulic dump trailer. And I was nervous and I was sweating. It was $7,500. And I hustled so hard. I paid that thing off in I think 6 to 8 weeks. because I worked like a madman 7 days a week to get my money back. And it was the most profitable investment because now you can get rid of the debris so much faster. Today, I just bought an 8.5 by 16 enclosed trailer for $9,300. And it's because my other enclosed trailer, it still works great, but the thing is old and it's just kind of falling apart and it's all rusty and I need more space. I've recently invested in upgrading where I park and store all my equipment. But here's my real point in this podcast. I have friends that have these multi-million-dollar landscaping businesses and they're buying stuff left and right. I just bought this and I just bought that. We just brought another shop. We just launched another location. We just dropped $100,000 on this plow truck. And, wherever they're at, that's great. But for me, I like to keep my risk as low as possible. And I don't know if I'm traumatized from being poor, growing up so poor, which is probably not a good thing. But I like to make sure, like, if you read like Aesop's fables and stuff on Audible, these kind of tales about don't count your eggs before they hatch, basically. Anything can happen. So, for instance, like buy everything with cash. I mean, I do have credit. I have great credit and I will buy something and I'll pay it off very, very quickly. I don't like debt hanging out. When you buy things on credit, it builds your credit when you pay it off, obviously. But I just don't like debt. I like to know that I do a job and I get paid. The money goes in the bank. All the expenses get paid immediately. I don't like to count my chickens before they hatch. I don't like to go out and upgrade lifestyle either. And so over the years, this has worked out tremendously for me. If I could just kind of fast forward and tell you how this has worked. Even though I've watched people grow multi-million-dollar businesses, which I have not yet, I probably would have grown my landscape business a lot bigger than it is now if I didn't love my media business and my podcast, which is a huge passion of mine. So I'm basically running two businesses at once. 1 second while I get a sip of water here. I need water bad.
If you are looking for the greatest software ever to run your business on, go to getjobber.com/Keith. You can create proposals, invoices, collect payments, and track your entire business directly on the Jobber smartphone app. If you want to get a totally free trial of Jobber right now, open your browser, type in getjobber.com/Keith, and after the trial, if you decide to sign up with Keith's link, you'll automatically get 20% off your first 6 months. So what are you waiting for? Go to getjobber.com/Keith.
All right, cool. But what I was saying is, I've also watched people stretch themselves way too thin and get deep, deep, deep bags under their eyes. And I know what it feels like to have, a couple trucks out there booked out for like 8 to 10 weeks with work, customers calling, it's raining, everything's breaking down. You're not even at the dinner table with your family. I've literally slept in the truck on job sites. Like you have to use the bathroom and you have to hold it for like 10 hours. Just going nonstop, and the anxiety is so bad that it's prematurely putting gray hairs on your head because you're doing all this to get money and to build a dream. Yet, if you stretch yourself too thin, it can affect your family life. So for me, I've watched, like a decade just whip by, and there's family members that I didn't get to spend time with. I always make sure I spend time with my wife, right? But, for instance, my cat Ninja. I know it's funny to say, I love Ninja. He's my cat. Like, he was my kitty. I got him when he was a kitten, and he's like 14 now, and my cat is dying. And he has a pancreatic issue. And I was so busy. I picked him up and I pet him every day. I pet him on the way to work. I pet him when I got home. I'd pick him up and I'd, walk around the house with him, and I'd sing to him, good boy, good boy. He's a good boy. Yes, that ninja is a very good boy. Good boy, good boy. And I'm like bouncing around with my cat, and he's drooling all down my arm, and he's got these green eyes, and then he'll sniper bite you. The cat has literally drawn blood, and he's clawed me. Like, this cat is aggressive, and I love him. He's my cat, right? And I didn't get to spend the time with my cat that I wanted to, and I kind of feel guilty, but I was out working 12 hours a day running a business. My wife and I didn't go, so basically I'm not going to get into my issues. Everybody has their own story, and mine is not even bad. But there's a tremendous amount of sacrifice, and you have to decide what level of sacrifice. And so if you could read a book called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan, he's the strategic coach. He wrote these amazing books, and he's also I think he's friends with Gino Wickman, the guy who wrote Traction, Get a Grip, and Rocket Fuel. You know, if you're trying to do everything by yourself, you're going to pull your hair out and become time bankrupt very quickly. So if you do want to invest in your business, you have to have profit. You have to have profit margins. You have to know your numbers. And real quick, I'm speaking about numbers. You got to have a 50% gross profit margin at least whenever you take on any work, which means when you tally up your cost of goods sold, your marketing expenses, your labor costs, every single tiny thing, including the materials that it costs to run your business to do that job. You crunch all the math down to the penny. I'm talking everything, office, admin, cost of goods sold, and you times that number by 2. So that'll be 100% markup. So if a job's going to cost you, I don't know, $400 to do the job, you want to charge at least $800 so that when the whole job is all done and all your expenses are gone, you've netted you got a gross profit margin of 50%. So if you charge $800 for a job, you should make $400. If you charge $1,000 for a job, you should have made $500 off that job. I created a group called the Untrapped Alliance where we go live every other Wednesday night in a controlled environment. I'm sick of scrolling on social media. I'm sure you are too. Let's get focused on our businesses. We already started the group, so if you join at keithkalfas.com/alliance, you can get access to the replays. And the bonus is we're gonna have special guest experts who run multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. They're gonna come on and teach us how to do sales, marketing, persuasion, close higher ticket jobs. These are people who got their shit together. And I'm really excited to have them on. Go to keithkalfas.com/alliance. I'll see you on the Wednesday night call. Let's go. If I'm doing a $10,000 landscape job, at the end, when we walk away, I want to have made $5,000. So not only do I do the math, I reverse engineer the math and make sure that I'm making that money before I give the quote to the customer. That's the rule, or you can't take on the job. So there's these little levers that you can pull when investing in your business to ensure that you make profit. Now, back to the security thing that I was talking about, not taking on too much risk. You can, this has helped me tremendously. I've set up certain numbers, mathematical numbers, that when I hit those numbers, I will, quote unquote, feel safe. My nervous system can relax. The amygdala, which is responsible for fight or flight. If you don't feel safe, you're all stressed out. So what's the number in the bank account in your savings that'll make you feel safe? You can say, once I have, I don't know, $10,000 in my business checking, $10,000 in my business savings. What about your personal? I have 17 bank accounts and the money is organized methodically. So it could be $50,000 in total money liquid. Once you get that amount of money, you can feel safe and not be so stressed out. I have a friend who he keeps $100,000 in the bank at all times. And he says everything above and beyond $100,000 gets reinvested back into his business or whatever he has going on or any projects. He goes, that way, if something goes wrong or it fails, it's not going to change what he eats for dinner tonight. He's still comfortable. Now, I thought about that, and that doesn't mean you have $100,000 in the bank and then you can go blow 20 on some investment model, you only have 80. No, that means you would actually have to have 120 in the bank in order to blow 20, because $100,000 equals 0. You're not allowed to go below $100,000. Now for you, it could be 20 grand. It could be only 10 grand. You might be listening to this and be like, what? I just need 5 grand in the bank. Set that number and that goal and hustle like crazy. And here's what I'm getting at. I'm coming full circle now. Don't spend any money on anything new in your business. This is just my opinion. Work with what you have and go work your ass off until you get that number in the bank. And then once you get, let's say it's 10 grand, you finally get 10 grand in the bank. You go, now I feel safe. If you want to go buy something that costs, I don't know, I'm speaking small stuff here, a $500 backpack blower. Well, you have to go have, and if the taxes are 6%, let's say it's $530 for your new backpack blower. You have to have $10,530. So when you go buy that backpack blower, your number never goes below 10 grand. 10 grand equals 0. Now, I'm a homeowner. I don't know if you own a home yet, but my friend Scotty, he's very financially intelligent. He was a special guest. He's owned like 16 different businesses. He was a special guest on my private group the other night. We go live every other Wednesday night. If you haven't heard about it, it's called the Untrapped Alliance private group. I've been doing this for like 9 months now, and I love it. And he taught us these different things about money and risk, and he's a risk taker, way more than me. I'm not so much. It was powerful, this interview we did with him. If you want to get access to the Untrapped Alliance private group, open up your browser and type in keithkalfas.com/alliance. You can get your first 2 weeks totally free. You can join the group, and you also get instant access to all the replays from the live trainings we did and MP3 downloads, so you can download them and listen to while you work. And these are very serious, like private trainings. I do interviews with experts, and just really powerful stuff. And if you want to join us live on Wednesday, go to keithkalfas.com/alliance. We teach all different business topics, and anyways, Scotty said to me one time, because my hot water tank blew up in my house, right? He's like, well, don't you have a home repair savings account? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, bro, you should have a bank account, a separate savings account called the home repair savings account. And you keep 5 grand in there at all times. I'm like, 5 grand? And what? And I just like, he just goes, well, you just put a couple $100 a week or something, a little bit here and there, $50 a week, just a little bit. And then once it gets up to 5 grand, then you stop putting money away. And now you always have that buffer in case anything happens. No big deal. So it's like, I did it. I started saving and saving and saving and saving. And I finally hit like $900 in the home repair, then 12, then 15. And I started stacking 2,300, 3,900. I'm like, wow, I'm almost there. 4,300, 4,700. And I rolled past and I had 5 grand in the home repair savings account, and the hot water tank blew up. And my wife was like, oh, there's no hot water. It cost like $1,800 to get a new hot water tank installed immediately. And guess what? I had no stress. It wasn't fun spending $1,800, but I felt so proud of myself as like a husband and a nurturer and a caretaker and a provider that within the 24 hours, that night we had a brand new hot water tank, and it didn't have to come out of my personal savings account. It came out of the home repair savings account.
Hey, Untrapped Podcast listeners. You transform properties, but getting consistent clients can be tough. How do you get more eyes on your amazing outdoor services? Footbridge Media specializes in helping contractors like you dominate your local market online. They build professional, optimized websites that convert visitors into leads, handling everything from design and SEO to review management. Stop being trapped by a lack of leads. Grow your home service business with a strong online presence. Open your browser and visit footbridgemedia.com/Keith today.
And so there's a saying, you don't always get your shoulds, but you always get your musts. So if you make something a must, then you'll get it, which means I made it a must to create this money. You're like, well, it's easy for you to say it. I'm like, no, I said, I opened up the new bank account and I called it home repair savings account. I said, this must hit 5 grand. And all I did was just put $50 in there. It's just an empty account with $50 in there, right? You start out light and then you work your way up. You don't pick up a guitar and just start playing like freaking Eddie Van Halen or whatever, whoever, you don't pick up drumsticks and just play like a pro, just like anything. So you set the intention and you start out small, and then before you know it, what you track expands. So my point is, when you think like this, well, if it's why don't I make enough money, you might say, right? Well, here's what I did. I'm like, well, I'm going to have to work till 6 or 7 or 8 p.m. every day and be late to the dinner table, which is not a good thing. You shouldn't do that. I'm going to have to work Saturdays and Sundays. I'm going to have to raise the prices in my landscape business. If the customers are saying no, I'm going to have to market and advertise more, and I'm going to have difficult conversations with those customers that have been hanging out way too long at too low of a price, and I'm going to have to stand up and fight for what I believe in and say, listen, like, what you fight for what you believe in. I've watched it happen in my life when I've been terrified. When I actually believed in what I was doing and I had a real stack of undeniable evidence reason why, and my back was against a wall, I somehow figured out how to make more money. And then just like if your business isn't licensed and insured and you got to get workers' comp, you got to get your employees on payroll, you got to do it. Are you going to wait for something scary to happen? So it's a step-by-step thing, and it feels like your back's against a wall and you're being squeezed through the cracks, and you're being forced to grow. But the truth is, if other people can do this, so can you. So you're being forced to expand in your maturity and your growth and metabolize this thing called business, and you can do it. You can do it. Don't ever say, I can't do it. Don't say bad stuff about yourself. And don't ever take your frustrations out on your family or go home and be negative. Like I used to go home and get negative around my wife and have thinking that me complaining about my business would somehow make her put my head on her shoulder and go, oh, it's okay. No, it doesn't happen. Like all it does is create negativity. So my point is, you got to figure this thing out. So to come full circle again, I don't like taking risks. I'd rather work my tail off, work with what I have and save up money. And when I hit a certain amount of money in the bank, instead of blowing it on more landscaping equipment and growing the business without even having the number right and knowing the math, I like to have the money in the bank and go, I'm so glad that money's in the bank. And then I don't have to worry this winter if we're going to be able to keep the heat on or have Christmas presents under the tree. Then, when it's easy to buy the piece of equipment, then you could just walk right into it. And I'm not saying it's that easy. I was sweating today when I was buying this $9,300 trailer. But now I have it, and I'm actually pulling up at Weingart's in Utica right now, equipment supplier, and I'm picking up my brand new Radius S Series 2025 brand new model X-Mark mower. It's a 48-inch riding mower, the new S Series. You can find that on xmark.com. And picking that up for our fall cleanups. I'm actually pulling in here right now. I'm looking at the road. I'm just talking into my voice recorder. So anyways, that's it. Keith Kalfas, real quick. And picking a call. Please hold 1 second. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you enjoyed it, please go to Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen, and leave it a well-worded, positive 5-star review. It helps the show's ratings. And I'll see you at Equip Expo. You can save 50% off your tickets on the Equip Expo website with promo code Keith50 during checkout. All right, later.
Hey, I hope you liked the show. And if you like the Untrapped podcast and you get value from it, can you please take a minute and go over to Spotify and leave it a well-worded, positive 5-star review? It helps boost the rankings on Spotify so the show can get to more people. Therefore, these messages can get out to more people and inspire more people so then they can go out and start their small businesses and crush it and get to the next level. It's a huge deal. All right, I'll see you in the next show.